Hey peeps, you know how depression is quite diabolical? It's a very, uh, it's a very tiring disease. Uh, when I was in middle school, I had to deal with a lot of my depressive symptoms flaring up. They started at the end of elementary school when I was like in sixth grade. It's uh, it's a lot to deal with when you're a kid and you have no one to really turn to. I mean, we had some school psychologists in, in middle school, but it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't enough because you're surrounded by kids and you're surrounded by your own problems and you didn't know how to work through them without wanting to do something terrible. You didn't have that guidance that said, "Hey, you can get through this. You can get through this." Which brings me to Chester and Linkin Park. I've been listening to Linkin Park since middle school. They really helped me through a lot. Even though I never knew them, never met them, never went to a concert, I got into the album Reanimation along with Hybrid Theory, but Reanimation was like my go-to. That it made me not question everything, but it made me want to really figure out who I was as a person and who I was when I was depressed as a person. It made me want to figure out my own self, my self-worth, how people viewed me, which, discarding teachers or you don't count teachers, I didn't really know how people viewed me. Because when you're in school and you have like favorite teachers and whatnot, you're, you know, you're good. You're made to feel like you matter. And that's the good thing about teachers is that they make you feel like you matter. They make you feel important. I had a few teachers in my time that made me feel worthy in this life, that made me feel like I could do whatever I wanted in this life. And the harsh reality when it hit me in sixth grade, I crashed out. I'm not gonna lie. I crashed out. I was like, I think I was thinking, what am I supposed to do without you guys? What am I supposed to do without you guiding me and telling me that everything's going to be okay and telling me that I can get through this? So I turned to music. And the first album I ever listened to, as I've mentioned before, was Linkin Park's Reanimation, and that got me through so much. It got me through so much heartache, so much pain, so much inner turmoil. I was able to self-analyze and really put my feelings into perspective. And even though I had a lot of bad days, um, and it took a while before I could start therapy, which go to therapy, but people go to therapy. If you really are struggling, go. I highly suggest therapy, but not BetterHelp because they have some practices that are just not good practices. But I digress. Therapy helped me through a lot of things. I'm still in therapy and I'm still, you know, learning new things and learning new ways to cope with, my life. But, you know, it's, yeah, it's worth it. Therapy is worth it. But back to Linkin Park. I, I don't know. They were everything to me. And I'm 1000% positive that they were everything to the massive fan base and they're still everything to the massive fan base. But for me personally, they validated my feelings, especially Chester. I identified with all of his pain because I was feeling the exact same thing. Crawling is one of my absolute favorite songs. And I know that Chester said, move on and grow, into the new albums and things like that. But not to say that I have, but I keep going back to Crawling because Crawling, that song really signified, manifested, cultivated. It was like the blueprint to what I was absolutely surrounded by emotionally. The darkness that is depression and the hopelessness that is depression and the loneliness that depression can bring you and the absolute pain that you know comes with depression as well, because you do get physical pain, you know at least I did. I would get physical, chest pains when I was, you know depressed. So, it just it helped me out. They really, 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 they really helped me out. They were able to make me see things that I didn't know were there. And if I could thank Chester, may he rest in peace, and Linkin Park, especially Mike Shinoda, like if I could thank them in person, I would have, I would. Uh, but yeah, that's all I gotta say. Uh, if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later.